Destruction approaches. Lasses cannot escape me forever.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Chopping block.
Alright Ted, so this video is for you, or anybody else who wants to learn the top lane. But basically what I'm going to be going over right here is general lane matchup. I'm fighting a Maokai right now versus Renekton. This is just Boogle on the other end. How to CS, how to back CS, do things where you don't want to be getting killed while you're trying to CS, like more of if you're behind. General ward times and things like that. Anything that I can help teach you so that you can try to do top lane a little bit better. So generally at the start of the game, usually what we would do is, we'd have you sitting somewhere around in here to try to guard while we wait for the invades or things like that. But since I don't have anyone fighting, besides Boogle at the moment, we're just going to sit on top and wait. Generally, for the wards, I would kind of think the first time that the jungler wants to hit you is the time that you want to start your wards. Now, I don't necessarily know exactly when that's going to be because of how junglers play out. So you would have to take some experience from someone else on jungles for that information. What I would assume, if I was just playing a top laner, is they would do it, somewhere like level 3. Level 3, level 4, sometimes level 2 if you're getting real lucky. So you could assume that would take them till at least 2 minutes 30 to get up top if they started blue. If they started red, you don't really have to worry about them because they're not going to come to you. So at about for 3 minutes you would drop your first ward. Now this is just general lane positioning right here. This is just stuff that I'm trying to... I want to avoid his poke and I want to get the full extent of my character out while getting all of the farm. So you have to time the things that you're doing. Now he's going to be shoving against me right here, so here's what I'm going to have to do. When he shoves really hard and puts me in a position where I may have to tower farm, I have to push. So you kind of want to try to even the lane. Now against a Maokai it's going to be pretty hard, and he's going to shove me into tower. So you want to get... You need about 84... what is it? Let's see. Let's do the math. Let's find out. You need 93 attack damage to be able to CS small minions under turret. So my little bit of attack speed that I have on this rune page is actually killing my ability to tower farm. So when you're thinking about runes in general, you need... Well, I can't remember exactly what I said, but you'll be able to see it on the video of how much AD you're going to need. I'm not even worried about what the Maokai is doing right now, based off of the fact that I need the farm, and I don't really have to worry about him. Now, Renekton is a lane bully, so I'm going to have to play to my strengths as well here in just a second. I'll have to figure out how to beat the Maokai. But you see, I lost money for that, because I jumped in and I hit him, which killed a lot of the CS. It doesn't seem to matter, because I'm still pretty much even with him, but at the same time, do you really want that gold exchange? Now, the reason you would think about this is if your jungler's coming up to get a kill, you want to weaken their side to try to get, easier gank off. But if your jungler isn't going to be coming up and helping you at all, there's no real point to try to weaken Boogle based off of the fact that, well, what's it going to do for me? I'm not going to get the gold on my own. In a perfect world, top laners aren't going to be able to kill each other. So, I lost gold for no reason. Now what I just did right there is called more of a safe trade. I traded with him when there was no minions to lose. I traded with him when there was no time for me to lose gold. It wasn't the optimal time to trade with him because he got the ability to fight back, but I also didn't lose gold. And this game, after all, is just a big bank. Whoever has the more money generally wins. Some characters scale differently, of course. That's a factor you have to think about as well, but... Now this isn't a character I play a lot, so this is a character that I'm just picking to be able to show an example. I guarantee you I'm building it wrong. I guarantee you I'm picking the wrong spells. But the point is that I can pick up a random character and show you what should be happening. Now that was a trade when the wave is being pushed. What this allowed me to do is the minions decided they were going to hit me instead of moving forward in the lane, which allowed the lane to stay more towards the center. While this isn't necessarily something that you would normally want, they also couldn't get to the tower while I was hitting Boogle. In a normal game situation, I would have probably overextended right there and maybe got myself killed. So it really comes down to knowing where the jungler is at that point. I haven't warded when I needed to as well, but there's no jungler, so I'm not really worrying about it. About 3 minutes you want to drop your first ward, and any time after that, you know, you want to keep the wards up as much as you can. And then for the pinks, like you already know, you want to get them in the tri-bush. General CS limits, you want to sit at about 80 per 10 minimum. That is pretty much perfect. I mean, I've been to 90 and I've gotten to 100 a couple times on occasion, but it's very rare, and usually you're doing little to no trading when you get that far. But it's also something where once you leave lane and, you know, your enemy laner doesn't have this kind of a setup, you're going to be fucking ridiculous. Now Boogle, he's trying to play back a little bit. He doesn't want anything to happen to him right now because there's no point for him to trade, right? He's not losing any farm because his wave clear is much higher than Renekton's. So he can kind of just chill back, sit there, wait for it to get to him, and then he can just kind of pop all of his spells at once and just grab all the farm. That's another type of character that'll be able to do that. These are generally very safe picks. I would assume someone like Darius could do that, right? Somebody that could just walk in and spin. Somebody, I don't necessarily know if Fiora would be able to do it, but anybody with a Hydra would be able to clear like this. This is another form of safe farming that you can do when you're in lane. Now this isn't necessarily what I'm worried about for us. What I'm more worried about for us is the ability to farm when you get under, the ability to figure out how to fight when you have lost, you know, not necessarily losing lane, but when somebody shoves your tower. So what I'm going to have Boogle do here in just a second is I'm going to back off and act like I lost my lane. Act like I was pushed completely to the brim of couldn't do anything, you know, and I lost my tower. So what I'm going to have Boogle do now is I'll back and he'll shove this tower out. And I want to show you the different kind of farming when you drop the first tier turret. I don't know what to buy on Renekton. I'm just gonna go general Hydra build, something that I would usually grab. So Boogle's just, I'm gonna let him take the tower real quick so I can show you how you wanna hold your lane. Now there's some things that I haven't done this a whole lot myself, especially on top lane, so I kind of want to experiment with it a little bit and see what I can get. There should be a time in the top lane farm rotation that you should be able to grab this, the white. There should also be a time that you should be able to grab the wolves as well, and I'm going to experiment right now and figure what that time would be. So once Boogle's done with the tower, I'm not going to hit you, Boogle, but you should probably kill these. Now it takes about we did math the other day and tried to figure out how much time 250 gold will be worth, and we determined it was somewhere around 1 minute of time based off of the fact that minions, a wave gives just around that amount. So the 79 gold or whatever you get from the white, which will generally up or down depending on how many times it's been killed and how long the game has lasted, you want to make sure to get all of your farm here while also grabbing white if it's possible. And the only time that you would grab the white should be when you push the wave to the point where it's going to snowball into the tower. So Boogle, I want you to act like you were roaming right now and I was just Renekton, you know, just chilling in lane alone. You're somewhere else where I could push if I wanted to, but I don't need to. So right now, he's over there pressuring somewhere else on the map, right? There's, you know, he's trying to hit middle, he's trying to do things like that. But our mid lane understands that he needs to not get caught right now because you're technically in a behind position and you don't want to just start roaming because you're going to make yourself weaker by roaming. So what you would do is you would sit with this wave. I just missed one because I'm stupid. Regardless, you would sit with the wave, you would hold it like this, more minions would come in and they would slowly start killing the minions. And on the last hit, right before everything dies, you want to get the kill. Some will get hit by tower, and you clean those. You gotta do it better than I do, though. So you would just kind of sit back like this, slap your minions. Now, see how my big minion died? Now their cannon minion is here. Now you don't want to kill the cannon minion quickly. What you want to do is you want to kind of clean up the little side minions. Now the cannon minion's here, so it's going to start pushing really hard. So you want to kind of take these and clean them up a bit. And the reason is because your lane is going to start pushing harder than you'd expect because your cannon minion's dead and theirs is not. So you clean it up a little bit. And you keep it sitting right here. You want it right here. You're safe right here. There's no time that you couldn't get away from a fight right now if something happened. You could just leave. And if they decided they were going to come push, you could just wipe this wave out and leave. Now, you see how much gold they're losing by the minions getting killed? They're losing a shit ton of gold. Okay. Now Boogle's trying to fight, so you'd want to clear it up. You don't want the minions there when there's pressure. You want to make sure to clear them up a little bit because you have the extra pressure of Maokai pushing. So you don't necessarily need to hold it with minions anymore because Maokai's sitting there. Yeah. Yeah, fuck you, Maokai. Now, the time that you could back in this situation seems to be a little bit harder to get, and that's something that I'm going to experiment with right now. Generally, in this situation, if one of your members is free, this is where you would back and have one of them come up to clear this while you were chilling. You know, you're sitting in a position where you don't want to fight anything. This is when we're playing back. This is when we're not being aggressive at all. This is when we're trying to just get big. And you know, sometimes as the top laner you have to do that. I know you play babysitter for us a lot, but you really do have to find a happy medium where you can get your farm, because you need to be big too. Generally, the only time we should be moving for the objectives seems to be when we have a chance at even fighting them. So if, for instance, you died once and lost your turret, that's where you would sit until we absolutely needed you. Because the amount of roaming that we do generally kills our gameplay based off of the fact that we're not rotating back to get the farm. There's going to be one of these videos specifically to each player. I'm going to do the math and research of what needs to change and how we need to play, and I'll put one of these out for each person. Now, I'm not the best at playing all the other roles, but I can play all the other roles, and I understand the strategy behind it. Ooh, the plays! Boogle beat me on video just to show off. But that's the general idea. If they end up taking this turret, you would do the same thing, but you would do it in this area right here. It's a little bit different on mid lanes, of which I'll make a video for that, and it's a little bit... we don't really need to teach bottom, because we've already got that handled. Jungle farming speed is going to be one thing, but that's really hard to teach, and general jungle position and how to judge where the enemy jungler is going to be will be another one. But I'll have to research that a little bit before I post that one. I hope you finished the video and actually watched it, you shithead, and you know, practice this in solo queue when you get a chance. you're gonna find that if you just farm in solo queue and you practice like this, you're gonna find you're gonna win a lot more games based off of the fact that you'll be a powerhouse in solo queue. So if you want to just practice this up, figure out what your CS can be by the certain minute marks, and mark it down. Really give yourself a rigorous training. Maokai's fucking overpowered. Alright. I'm gonna cut the recording, Google.